So we never say E is on the line. We call this E line, and the E, that's the E line, that's where it lives. So we don't say it's above it or on it because it's messy. Then we call these cozy notes because they're being hugged by the lines. They're space notes, they're in the space cozy, right? And then of course G. And then because we learn C first, unfortunately, in the United States, it ends up being a C to C. But does anybody know what it is everywhere else in the world? You probably heard it when you were a child. Anybody heard doe, a deer, a female deer? United States is the only country in the whole world that calls this C. It should be what? Do, because we start on do. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. So only in America. And that's why we used to not have the metric system. We used to do inches and things like that. And everyone else in the world did what? Metric system. And so then finally America had to convert because we did so much more now global, exporting and importing, and we had to get measurements the same. So this is in music, just to let you know, a lot of my music for my advanced pianists, it'll say in the key of fa, and they laugh at it. What's key of fa? Ha, ha, ha. Well, key of fa is F, do, re, mi, fa. And that's how come if you ever find music that is written in the solfege, as we call it, get it, because it's really special, because that means it was not from the United States. So here we have our scale. This is a major scale, and so everybody, can you play it? And I don't care if you play it with your pointer finger, doesn't matter, just play your C. So that is the easiest scale because it has all white keys. So you're looking at the piano and you think, I didn't have to play any black keys. So it's the easiest one, all white keys. How did we figure that out? In music we have intervals. In the intervals, they are based off of, now this is going to get kind of technical, but that's why you're here, right, to learn this. You have whole steps and half steps on a piano. So in a scale, you're going to take the scale that you wrote, and you'll notice on the sheet that I gave you that has the C scale on the top, they use the word, it says T and S on the bottom one, so that's in European, semitones and a tone. In the United States, we call it half steps, whole steps. This is your way of figuring out any scale on the piano. Any scale. And did I mention any scale? You ready? So you're going to say it with me. And you're going to actually write this on your paper. You'll make a bracket. That is a whole step. That means 2 halves. And then you have whole. And then you have half. I hear somebody saying it. Does somebody know it? There you go. Whole, whole, half. Whole, 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 half. Write that in. Thank you. So whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Everybody say it together and whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. So that means of all the keys, when I look at a piano, those are all the keys I can sing in. It's also all the keys you could play in on any instrument. So if everything in a song is based off of the scales, I have to know my scale and how to find it. So we did the easiest one. So now when you're playing your C scale, see if you can see the whole steps. So this is a half, isn't it? But 2 halves make a whole. And then, there's a half because there's nothing in between. So everybody playing their C scale, understanding their whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Good. Wonderful. So, what do scales have to do with music? Anybody know?
They give you the melody for the song?
Melody, yeah, but what's the most important thing in a song? We wouldn't even have the melody if we didn't have what?
The pitches.
The pitches come from what?
Structure.
Structure comes from what?
The right tone.
Tones come from the what?
The piano.
What does the piano have to play?
Notes?
What are groupings of notes called?
The staff.
Chords. Now trumpet can't play chords because you can only play one note at a time. But this is why for a band to be called a band, you either have to have piano or what's another instrument that plays chords?
Guitar.
Guitar. So that's why bands can be made with guitars without piano or piano. Which one's harder for vocalists? Guitar. Because a piano you can hear more than what the guitar does because the voicings. Anyway, so this is how you're going to build every single chord in any key. You ready? I call this drawing circle party. We are going to be drawing circles. Ready? Here we go. Line note, line note, line note. What chord is that?
C major.
It's a C major chord, right? So you're going to take your pencil and you literally space, space, space. Line, line, line. Space, space, space. Line, line, line. Space, space, space. Line, line, line. And you're going to end. So have your little circle party on the one that you wrote, on the paper that you wrote. So you should have written your own C scale, and now you are going to fill in your circles. Where's your...
Thank you.
And then after you've had your circle party, and this is part of AP music theory. So for you younger ones, when you get into high school, it'll be very important that you have advanced placement classes. For musicians, the best class to take is advanced placement music theory. Most high schools require you to do a year of music theory before you can even get into AP music theory. So this is straight out of AP, Advanced Placement Music Theory. So you have just now built all the chords that are used in the key of C. So now you have to play them. You didn't know you were going to do all this piano today, did you?
No.
And those are the chords that are in any song that's in the key of C. So now we're going to listen. Everybody's going to play C chord. Is it major or minor? Have you ever heard those terms before, Connor? Canon, I'm sorry.
I've heard of them.
You've heard of them? So major, sometimes you hear, oh, it sounds like happier. I don't like to use those terms, but major sort of does, you can tell the difference. Minor can sound a little bit more deep, something like that. So everybody play a C major chord. So that one's major. Now go to the next one, and that one is a D minor chord. Next one, that is a minor chord. Next one, that's major. G is major. And then A is minor. Good. And we won't do the B because that one is not in pop music. So you have C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, and A minor. Right? So I'm going to play a chord and you tell me if it's major or minor. Do you hear it? That sounds kind of major, right? Kind of happy. And what about this one? Can you hear that difference? What about this one? Minor. So, in most songs, we do have at least one minor chord. And you're going to see all these pop songs later that we're going to be looking up, and you'll go, oh, there's the minor chord, right? So we attach numbers to this. Some of you might have heard of the Nashville number system. It's nothing special to Nashville. It's just that the quality of the musicians there are so much higher that they just do it by numbers. What are the numbers? They are this. 1, and you're going to write this in. That's a Roman numeral, capital 1, because C is 1. D minor is lowercase, a little 2. Then you have E minor, which is lowercase 3 to show that it is minor. You have your 4, which is major. You can see that that's the F. And then we're up to the 5 chord, which is capital V for Roman numeral 5. And for drummers, it's very important. The reason you need to know this is because they'll say a chord progression will skip to the chorus where it comes in on the 4 chord. So that's why it'll make sense to you, because you'll start hearing that more and more. And then the 6 is little old 6 because it's minor. You have just created multiple chord progressions is what we call that. So those were chord progressions. So how many of you got a 1 chord? At least one time did you get a 1. And how many times did you get a 4 or a 5 or a 6, a 2 or a 3? So right there is, I know it's hard to believe, but can you imagine being in Nashville, you're at a studio, you know, say a teenager comes in and says, oh, I want to write a song. This is literally the number system, and they will have her, you know, a whole team help rhyme some words, things like that. And these are the chords that they would choose from. And it's almost like taking a dice, and you just roll your dice. Now, are there common chord progressions? Yes, there are. So, if I were to play this chord, what song am I playing? What song was that? And you all took you that long to figure out what song it was? Really? So, row, row, row your boat is all what chord? It was a 1 chord, right? Now there is 1 5 chord, and it happens at the end. Row, row, row your boat, da 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 da, da 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 da. There's your 5 chord. Da 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 da. So we would know that if it chooses another major chord, this is called a primary chord. There are 3 primary chords. You're going to write this down on that sheet I just gave you. You're going to circle the 1, the 4, and the 5. And you're going to say primary chords. And what are they? 1, 4, and 5. Right underneath. This is very important. And you think, well, why are we spending so much time in the key of C's? Because you're going to have to transfer this, and this is what advanced placement is all about. You got to be able to do this in every single key, but I'm going to show you a shortcut. And like those of you that sing in church and play in church, this is what the chords are based off of, and you just have to know what key you're in, and it's like rolling a dice. But you pretty much are going to have 1, 4, and 5 no matter what key you're in. And then the most common minor is 6. So write that underneath. Most common minor is 6. Oh. So now I'm going to play another song that I know that everybody in this room knows, And we're going to listen to see if there's any minor chords to it.
Is that hard?
So that only had primary chords. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Back to 1. Happy birthday, dear everybody. There was your 4. Happy birthday to you. Back to 1. That's all that was. So you could be able to play and sing happy birthday in any key based off your chords, right? Because that's all that was in that song. Now, there's another very popular song that everybody in here has probably heard. And it introduces not only the primary chords, but it also introduces the 6. But before we do that, there's another song. If I do this, do you know what song that is?
Are you happy and you know it? Clap your hands.
Oh no, but that one would work. Don't stop believing.
I don't know God no.
I don't know the words. Don't stop. So everybody play C chord. Right? It's the 1,
5, 6, 4.
yeah, and that would be the chord progression. So if you were in Nashville or Atlanta or New York or in LA, they'd say, okay, we're going to be recording this song and the progression is a 1, 5, 6, 4. You go, okay. And then you would start to sing that. Play that. So, now again, this is key of C, and we're going to learn how to switch to go into the different keys. But like when you were sight reading your song, it would have helped had you known what key you were in and what chords to expect, because they're all going to be right here. All right, so now with those chord progressions, we are going to take a look at your play a C chord, and you're going to break it up, and you're going to do it one note at a time, so it sounds like this. Bottom, middle, top, middle, bottom, and then go to A minor and do the same thing. And back to C. And try to do it in this tempo. C, E, G, E, C, C, E, G. Now A minor. There you go. All right, now that is the beginning of a chord progression that is 1, 6, 4, 5, which is this old song. Anybody heard that before? It's called Heart and Soul. So let's try that. Your right hand's going to go 2 C chords. Ready, go. Boom, boom. Now drop down 2 to the 6. Try to use your right hand. So your thumb's on 6, thumb's on 4, which is A. 6, A. Now to F, which is 4. And right next door to 5. And back to 6. 1. 1. Then dropping down 2 to 6. And then to 4, which is F. And then 5, which is G. Alright, so that's Heart and Soul. Now, what about this song?
Let's play that song. What? Let's play that song. Hallelujah.
Yes, it's the same. It's the C. Then it goes to 4, like Heart and Soul. And then G. And back to C. And there's the song. So, do you see how by knowing your numbers and your structure and where they get these chords, then you know, oh my gosh, there are thousands of songs I can play. You pull up any of Taylor Swift's song, Ed Sheeran, you know, like now, Maroon 5 can kind of sometimes get a little bit more, because he does a little bit of jazz. All right, so now we're going to play another song. You tell me what this song is. Yeah, what does it do in the beginning? Everybody plays C chord, and then you have those snaps. Then 6, there's your A minor again. And you're going to go to F. And then to G. And back to C. Can't stop this feeling. C. Into A minor. So make sure your thumb is ready. And we're going to play along with that song. And it is in the key of C.
How do you know where to go, like,
Generally, you're going to go down so that you don't have a bigger jump. So C to 6, like C to A minor, you would just go down 2 because it's closer.
Do it.
Choose the titles of all of them.
That would work actually.
Like every single one of their
You
songs.
might have to add like an and there.
No,
A11 I have. Just to see your smile.
C.
Like 40 minutes.
A minor, F, G, and C. A minor, F, and G, C. A minor to 6, into the 4, into the 5.
You'll know.
Good, sorry, I had it on the, here we go. Yeah, so instead of going, remember how we were going like C, D, E, F, G, A? So here's your C. We go
Just use all of
direction,
them.
like upside down, instead of jumping way up there. And then forward and then 5. Does that make sense? Ready? Here you go. C and is A minor. Now F. Back to C. Oh, G, sorry. C, 6, A. Now F. Make sure you're using thumb and pinky and third finger. And C. And 6, A minor. Now F. G. And C. A minor. F. Back to 1. There you go. So you see how that works? And make sure you're using the right fingers, thumb and pinkies, right? And here are the choruses coming up. Get ready. 5, 6, 5, 6, 7, 8. C chord. A minor. F. Back to C. C. A minor. F. A minor. F. So, does that make perfect sense? That basically all you needed to know was what? What key you were in. This song happens to be in the key of C, doesn't it? So it makes it very easy. Now, what about somebody that can't sing it in that key? Because most guys don't have a voice like him. So what can they do? They would have to transpose this. Put this in a different key. Now the reason they can't do it by the octave is because then that would be too low. And this is the problem. So think music theory-wise. I have to take everything I just did and put it in a different key for me. So we're going to go to the next best key that has one sharp in it. What's a sharp? Well, on the trumpet, you know what to do on the trumpet, but on the piano, what do you do to make it a sharp?
Well, it's gonna be an F major. But you.
No. F sharp. How do you make an F sharp? You got to go to the black key F, and that puts you in the key of G. So, this is where it gets sticky. Are you ready? Now watch what I erase on the board. I'm not going to erase my numbers because the numbers are going to stay the same. I'm not going to erase my whole, half, because that's going to stay the same. I have to erase, now you don't erase, you're just going to write it again. I have to erase the letters and the notes. Because as long as I know these two chords, I can pretty much do over 100,000 songs, no matter if it's the right key for me or not. I can switch it. So now I have to, so get your pencils out, and we are now going to have to start on a G scale. And the way that we're going to know that it's the key of G, how do we know as musicians? We got to put a tic-tac-toe, a sharp, right up here. And that's going to let the drummer, the bass guitar, the piano, anybody who's playing in that band will know that we are now in the key of G. So a G scale, that means everything's going to be based off the G scale. And this is why, for those of you who have ever had classical piano lessons, you do scales. Don't you do scales on trumpet?
Yeah.
Yep, and that's why. Now, trumpet only plays one note, but your G scale has to start on the note G. So we had C, D, E line, F space, G. So I know it has to, and then you go circle party, and you go straight up, and there's your F right there. That's already sharped at the beginning, so we're supposed to know. So the letter names then are G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. My scale formula remains the same. Whole, half, whole, half. So your next step is to play your G scale on the piano. So you got to find your note G, and then you play your G scale. Don't forget the F sharp when you get to the end. So G scale. And make sure you have your F sharp in it. Your thumb starts on G.
Oh, I see what you're doing. Why don't we go over in one direction?
Oh, I didn't hear an F sharp.
Miss Denise, are we doing circles and fifths? Circle with it. Okay.
So you didn't write your letter names down, Lily Mae. G, A, B, C, D, E. Your F sharp's at the very end.
This is my favorite thing.
Let me give these to you now.
I know, I have it memorized. I memorized it.
What's the key of B?
The key of B? Well, I have it memorized if I write it down. I can't do it.
Okay, well, there's an easier way.
Yes,
Because you won't have time. AP is timed. Did I give you this one too?
Yeah.
Alright, so after you've done your G scale, you know now that you have to have an F sharp whenever an F comes up. That's what makes it sound good. So, circle party, now we gotta know what chords. Line, line, lines, space, space. Line, line, line. Oh, I gotta add some extra lines. Maybe I should have done it an octave lower. And that means the 2 has to be minor. So that's A minor, that's B minor, B minor. And this is very technical, but once you can do this in this key, so Riz, I need you to do this. So you've written your G scale, now you know every single chord, and key of G is very important because majority of pop songs are done in the key of G. If you're a guitarist, key of G is the easiest key to play in. So, and then say there's a song in the key of A. Ooh, but I don't know those chords yet. You're going to read it in the key of G and capo it up to A. So what you're sounding is A. So that's why key of G is so important for pianists and guitarists. So you have to know these chords. So what is the one chord in the key of G? It's a G chord. So everybody's saying it out loud. What is the 4 chord in the key of G? C. What is the 5 chord in the key of G? D major. And if it sounds minor, you forgot to add the black key. Right? And what is the 6th chord in the key of G? E minor. Oh, I hear E minor. E minor. Remember, your thumb is on E. Your thumb and pinky plays, and then you set your 3rd finger down. For those of you who piano is new for. So, how many songs do you think are in the key of G in the popular world? I'd say over 90,000. And that is because it's the easiest key for guitar. So if you have bands that say don't know music and they're just doing stuff by ear, most of the time it's either in the key of C or G. So that's why a lot of those, bands that, they gain popularity through like YouTube and things like that, a lot of their things are C and G. So artists that are guitarists tend to write in the key of G. So, one of the big songs out right now.
You were just kids when we met.
So, you just looked up this song because you want to play it. You want to sing and play this song. So you have to figure out what key you're in.
Stop tempting me.
How many of you have heard this song before? Nobody's heard this song? One person's heard the song? Oh, now I see hands. I like to see hands. Yeah, I know it, I know it! All right, so when you've got your song right here, it tells you,
G major.
G, it says E minor, it says D and C. What key are you in if it has those 4 chords in it?
G chord.
The key of G. So you write up on the top of this page, key of G.
I wrote it. Because it is a G major.
And then I forgot to tell Tom. Now, the problem is this is sung by a guy, isn't it?
We can transpose it.
Lower.
So for girls, it's probably a little too low. So you're going to have to transpose it into the key of what? C. go get that printout. I forgot to tell you. So go ahead. Play You're Perfect. So remember how you're playing the chords. And I'm going to play it, and so for the guys, you get to sing and play right along with him. And this is, in what key did we say?
Italy's concert. Pre-recorded.
What key did we say? This is in the key of G. And here we go. Everybody got their G chord ready? After the ad plays. I'll make sure you get the rest of the papers. And then we're going to also do it in the key of C for the girls. G. To 6, which is E minor. And then the 4, just like heart and soul, but we're in the key of G. Here's your D. Don't forget your F sharp in the middle. G. And C. D. Don't forget your F sharp.
All right, okay.
So, do you see how the whole song is that? Do you see anything different? Do you see anything different?
What's the G?
That's G chord and then D chord. They're closer together because it goes time, and he holds that note, so there was not a lot of space there. So now you can be singing and playing this. Now for the girls, what can the girls do? Because we don't want to sing da 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 da. So we got to put this in the key of C. So all guys, because we're going to do a girls song that you have to switch into guys. So what do we do? Okay. We have to transpose. You ready? This is the big thing now. I know that this chord progression is what numbers? Who can tell me the numbers of the chord progression in Perfect by Ed Sheeran? 1, 6, 4.
Okay, alphabet.
What was that one? 5. So this is the chord progression, all right? So put your thinking caps on. In the key of C for girls to sing, what would these chords need to be in the key of C? I'll do the easy one. Are you looking up here? 1, because this is numbers. You see, you've heard music is numbers. 1 is what in the key of C? C. 6 is what in the key of C? A minor. 4 in the key of C is what? F. 5 in the key of C is what? G. So now, thank you. Here is it in the key of C. So right on the top of page, key of C. Yeah. Right on there, key of C. No, don't need it because you're not doing it. So ladies, when you're on YouTube and you're like, ugh, that doesn't sound as good in a girl voice. Now, those of you who are coming to the workshop next week, that is solely vocal. So that's not going to have this intellectual part and piece of it. So this was explaining to you intellectually. This was a private thing set up just for you all. Next week is more performance oriented. All right, so I want to make sure you understand that next week is totally different than what we're doing today, because as you know, not too many students could handle this kind of intellectual musical theory stuff. So here we go with, now I'm going to look up a cover, and now why, I'm a girl, why would I look up a cover?
Because they'll do it in the right key.
So that they are going to be doing it in the right key for me. So let's see, I'm sure one of these is in the key of C. So she actually put it in the key of D.
Yeah.
So she did it even a little higher. Let's see what Samantha does. Samantha Harvey is making a lot
Then
of
refuel
money.
with True Moon chocolate milk.
Great.
Here he goes. C chord. A minor. A minor. Now go to F. Remember to keep your calculation right here. G. Get that? Are you following along with the Roman numerals? And this is Samantha Harvey. She does a lot of this. So now, if you wonder, how do these people do this? On YouTube, when they take a guy's song and make it to a girl's voice, or a girl's song and make it to a guy's voice. So if you wonder why, like those of you who I have as students, and I say, you can't sing it in that key, I'm not going to let you. It usually has to do with hurting your voice. I don't want anybody hurting their voice. So if a girl is singing Ed Sheeran in his voice 10 times a week, what happens to that voice?
It goes bad.
It gets out of balance. And now all of a sudden now I got to do something else to do what? Get it back in balance. So you can see how important these keys are. So in general, going in between key of G and key of C is the most important two keys to know, because that is what you can do. If a girl's song is in the key of G, then guys would need to probably put it in the key of C. It works vice versa. It goes back and forth. All right, any questions so far? No? Very good. So those are the keys, the C and G. So now I'm going to pass out a little bit more of, actually, let's just go ahead and try it. Did anybody bring, you have your phones with you? So you're going to look up, I brought an iPad, I brought 2 iPads and my computer. So anybody need a device? You all got your devices? All right, so you are to look up, you're going to go to ultimateguitar.com. You are going to look up one of your favorite songs right now. And everybody goes, well, I don't know. But try to think of a song. Now, I don't want some extravagant movie soundtrack type song. I just want a pop song, right? So you can't go to like 007 kind of stuff. That's a different kind of music there. But you're going to go to a pop song that you like. ultimateguitar.com. And you pull up the version that has, like, say, the most plays on it. And it will also be rated by stars.
There's no way that's right.
Anybody got one up yet?
I do.
All right. So, what are the 4 chords? Go to the chorus.
A, B, A, B.
Okay, so they can't be
C.
major. So, what are
C
you
sharp.
reading?
No. A, B.
It wouldn't be 2 major chords. Does it have a B minor? Does it have a little M by it?
Nope. It's an A to B.
Drifted down.
Sometimes
It
I have
is
to make
C
it
sharp
sharp.
major, minor, C sharp minor. Yeah.
Yeah, this one's
Yeah,
bad.
that's.
Because that's not it. So sometimes, kids put these up and they don't.
Sometimes they don't put the minors in. I
Yeah.
don't play guitar.
I ain't gonna see it one.
Yeah, so she wrote this as novice, so she was trying to make it really easy. But because of that, it's not gonna work, so you have to do another one. Anybody else have one?
I have.
Hold up. What do you have?
I have F9, E flat 9, D7.
Okay, so that's what song is that?
A change is gonna come.
Pardon?
A change is gonna come.
Who is that?
Sam Cooke.
So look for like one without the 9s, like a simplistic
Yeah,
one.
one.
What do you have?
Reckless love.
Oh, that is right.
And what are the chords?
E minor, B, C, G.
All right. So, Jen, can you tell everybody the name of your song again?
Reckless love.
Reckless Love. Anybody heard that song?
No.
And who's the artist?
Corey Asbury.
Corey.
ASB 101.
All right, and so this is the song you want to sing. We got to figure out what key it's in. So you literally you go to the chorus and tell me the names of the chords.
E minor. D. C. And then the verses are all E minor, D, C.
All right, so here.
The chorus adds a G at the end.
All right, so first of all, we have to figure out the 1. I don't know what the 1 is though. So this is how I do it. You ready? This is a little trick. 4 and 5, and look up here so you can see this. 4 and 5 are major, aren't they? And they're right next to each other. So that means I have to look for 2 letters that are what? Capital and right next to each other. So, in the key of G, 4 and 5 is what?
D and C. So this is a G chord.
So if I can find my 4 and 5, I can walk it down backwards. So let's see. Because she said D and C. And my ding, 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 I was thinking, I bet you that's the 4 and 5. So C, D, C, D. Now I gotta walk it backwards. If this is 4 and 5, I'm gonna walk it backwards. Here I go. 4, 3, 2, 1. There it is. Now let's double check. What's the most common minor used in any song?
E minor.
I need a number.
Six.
The 6. So now we gotta see if the minor is the 6. It says what? E minor. So in the key of G, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Cha-ching. Done. That's the key of G. These are the chords. So I already know that those 4 chords are going to be all the way through the song.
What would the numbers be? So it would be 6.
It'd be a 6, and then this is the 4, that's the 5, and that's the 1. Did you see how easy this could be? Now, that's in the key of G, and it's a guy or a girl?
Guy.
It's a guy. So if I had to transpose this, stay with me. If I had to transpose this, because I want to sing it and I'm a girl, what would my 6 have to be?
A minor.
A minor. 5.
G.
Yep, because C, D, E, F, G. 4, C, D, E, F. And 1,
C.
and it's transposed. Now, thank goodness on Ultimate Guitar, we can just keep hitting the transpose button. But if you're trying to do it by ear, it still goes by the number system. Music is numbers, and we could get into all the intervals, which is what I wanted to get into that today, but we won't have time. But so do you see how all of this works together? What's another song?
All of me, by John Legend.
All right, John Legend's All of Me. Let's figure out that key. What are the chords?
F minor.
Let's see what
D
happens.
flat. E flat. And A flat.
All right, so this is a very extravagant key. How come I know that, Risden?
C, A major, F. Because there's 2 majors.
There's always 2 majors. Why is this so extravagant?
Because everything's flat.
Because look, all those flats. Oh my gosh,
I
we
was
haven't
looking
even
at the
done that.
I was looking at the C, A, F, and I was
you weren't
like,
watching me right,
You
right?
just drop it down half a
So-
step.
Let me show you how to do this. This, I'm not gonna play. So I want you to take your Ultimate Guitar, and I want you to make it go down a half step to get rid of these. So, now stay with me. F minor. Look at your piano. If we took F down a half step, what would it make this?
E.
E minor, we like it. So chances are, this might be in the key of G and I can play it. All right, this is what you're thinking. So on the piano, you take your pointer, you find D flat, which is the black note for D, it goes to the left. What's a half step down from D flat? C. What's a half step down from E flat?
D.
D. What's a half step down from A flat? Woohoo! What key are we in now?
G.
Yes. Now that we got this into the key of G, I'm a girl, I want to be able to sing it. What am I going to do? Turn it into the key of C. B minor is 6. C is 4. D is 5. G is 1.
C.
Any questions? Do you see what we did now? Transposing this to this from F minor to E minor, that's done automatically for you on Ultimate Guitar. You just got to click transpose button down 1. But now you know why we do that. Half steps. It goes by half steps. And that's also confusing because you think, oh, down 1 would be a whole step. No, it's only by half steps. So you literally, which is why I make all my singers learn piano, because you can literally count half steps and whole steps. Then that way, do you see what I mean? By only learning 2 keys, the key of C and the key of G, you can pretty much take any song that you would like and put it in one of those 2 keys depending on how you want to sing it. If it's a guy's key, it's in the key. First have to determine the key signature. Determine the key signature. Any questions? How does this relate for those of you who sing in church and play in church? Because a lot of times they literally will shout out numbers.
They say end on a 1, end on a 2, and you're like, or sometimes the singer will come out back and say, this is too low for me, and then they're like, okay, we're going to play in this key, and you have to quickly
Yes, and we only did 2 keys today. I was hoping to get through 4 or 5 keys, but these are the 2 easiest keys. But so we will be doing keys, which leads me to show you. Last thing then, if there aren't any questions, I'm going to be giving you. This is called the Circle of Fifths, and like Jen studied with Bobby Brader before he left for LA. And he had in his room this big poster of circle of fifths. And he would sit with his students and he'd say, see the circle of fifths? See, we're blah, 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 blah. And they would look at this poster like a deer in headlights. Like, I have no idea what that is. And he would just go on and on about the circle of fifths and da-da-da-da-da. And they would walk out of their lesson, and every single one of those students, I asked them, do you understand what the circle of fifths is? And what do they say? Not a clue. But they loved to hear him talk about it, and it was so mesmerizing because it really makes sense, but until you kind of understand what it is, it's just like, not really sure. So I'm going to give everybody these unfinished circle of fifths, and as you do your lessons, we'll be filling them in, because all keys have to do with sharps and flats. The other page you're going to get is this one. This has every single possible key signature on it. And the problem with that is, as pianists, there are certain key signatures we do not want to play in because it'll have 7 sharps. Like, I'm not doing that. But if I had to play in a key that has 7 sharps, what do you think I would be doing?
Put up half step.
I'm going to know what chords to expect, because that would be a hard thing to sit and sight read. Now, I am fortunate that I know this so well, I can use a combination of all the chords to expect in that key and look at the notes and play it. But it's just because I know the theory, and then I can kind of see the notes as I'm going. So if I was playing in a really horrible key, like the key of C sharp, everything's sharped. It's horrible. Even E sharp and B sharp, it's horrible. So I'm going to know that I have to expect C sharp chords, A sharp minor, F sharp, and G sharp. And because I know those chords, I can do it. So that's the importance of knowing theory. Also, if you're ever in a studio, studios all do Roman numerals. Everybody works off in Nashville. If you don't know your Roman numerals, then guess what? How do I make my most money? I make my most money by playing in studios, because who is the people that come into the studio and want to record? A lot of young artists that want to make an EP. So a lot of times they come in, they have no idea. They don't know music, they don't know music theory, but I wrote this song and it kind of sounds like this, and they have no clue. They have to hire somebody to come in and do what? Put it in a key, know the chords, put it in a chord progression, build the melody, made off the scale, and somebody's got to do that. So that's, and how much do recording studios charge somebody per hour to come in and record? Does anybody know?
$100.
So in Sarasota, you can get some for $100, but in Nashville, guess how much it would be?
$1,000.
You'd be, to do one song, you're looking at about $10,000 if you have to build the song from ground up. So my billable hours for that, it's pretty good. So in Sarasota, it's not quite like that, but again, there's a friend of mine who his parents live in Sarasota. It's really cool because a lot of people's parents live in Sarasota, so when I know when they're coming down, because his name is Bubba Smith, and he's won Grammy Awards and all that, and he's already said that he'll come in and do a workshop with you. But you can't do a workshop with somebody like that unless you know what? Theory. You've got to know your Roman numerals, and you've got to be able to get around a piano. And then that way you can build a song and understand how to do it very, very well and very quickly. The speaking of the words comes first, because we all speak in vocal architecture, and that's what determines your melody. Then you sing your melody, and you know what chords go underneath the melody, and that's what builds your key. Because the key that it's in is your natural speaking voice. Right? It's the natural vocal architecture. So, remember, next week is mandatory for all performers who are going to be performing anytime throughout the year. Right? So, that's in the band, that's next week, and that's totally different. I will not be doing this intellectual kind of theory stuff. It's going to be more about performing. So, that's next week. This was a lot of information. I have a lot of papers for you, and you're going to keep them in a packet together, and your teacher will kind of do a little bit as you're kind of going along. But your assignment is to look up songs off of Ultimate Guitar and try to transpose them. If you have to go up a key or down a key, if you have any trouble, all you got to do is text me, email me, and I can navigate you through so that you are singing at the piano and playing, or in your trumpet, you want to play a pop song, you have to put it in the key for the trumpet. Because trumpet actually is concert B flat pitch. So when a piano plays an A, you got to play what?
Over the summer we played piano spot with my band.
Good. So who put it in the key, correct key for y'all?
My band teacher,
Your band teacher. See, who's your band teacher?
Miss Lewis,
Miss
at
Lewis.
Sarasota Middle School.
Sarasota Middle. Great. So you're going to be able to do that yourself. Isn't that cool? So this was sort of the beginning of all that. Did anybody learn anything today?
Yes.
Okay, so you're just kind of getting used to the idea. You've been introduced to the fact that music is numbers. And it doesn't matter if it's Beethoven or Bach or Ed Sheeran. If I were to show you a Beethoven sonata in the key of G, and the only difference is it took the G chord and broke it up. That's still a G chord. This is still a C chord. This is Mozart. This is in the key of C. G chord, F chord, F chord, C chord, G chord, and C, G, C. And that's Mozart. It's the same thing. So in AP, so Kristen's in AP right now. So in AP music theory, they're going to give that excerpt, and she's going to have to Roman numeral analyze that.
Yeah.
So that's how come you need to know your chords, because it doesn't matter what form they come in. That was classical form. Make sense? All right. Thank you so much for coming. And I want to make sure everybody gets all